Because you have something that is valuable to someone else. It could be a variety of different things with thousands and thousands of people in this room. But we all have something to give that changes someone else for the better. I was speaking for an organization that my friend was at. This was a couple of years ago. And when we were done, he pulls me aside. And he's like, Randy, I've got something for you. I think you might find it beneficial. Don't leave without talking to me. I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I'll get back to him in a little bit. In 1969, there was a young couple. And this young couple was getting ready to have a baby. And that year, the wonderful Chicago Cubs were in first place. Woohoo! That year and like one other year. And the dad-to-be, he was a catcher when he grew up. He loved sports. And he played catcher all through high school and even as a young adult. And when they talked about names, he said, well, why don't we, if it's a boy, name him after the Chicago Cubs catcher? And at the time, the Chicago Cubs catcher was Randy Huntley. 55 years later, Randy Fox, named after the Chicago Cubs catcher. Now let's go back to my friend and the story. He pulls me aside and says, you're from Chicago. Yeah. Are you a Cubs fan? Yeah. He's like, we just moved. And for the last 20 years, my wife has said to me, why do you have this box? It has the stickers on it from all the movers that we've moved, and nothing ever comes out. You got one of those boxes where every time you go back to it, like I still haven't looked at it in 15 years. And he goes, and I had this thing, and I said to her, somebody needs this. Somebody would appreciate and value this. He goes, Randy, here's what I got for you. He goes, I got a baseball. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, oh, it's a Major League Baseball. He goes, yeah. He goes, turn it. Look at it. Look at it. And I go, oh. He goes, do you know who that is? I said, yeah, it's autographed by Randy Huntley. And then I told him the story I just told you, and he's like, this ball belongs to you. See, isn't that awesome? He had something that he wasn't quite sure what to do with it. You have something. Maybe it's just words. Maybe it's actual service. Maybe it's just being there. Maybe it's just your presence. See, we can never miss the moment. Can never miss the moment that when we have something that maybe somebody else finds valuable, that we use that as an opportunity to change their life. See, this is the call to excellence lived out. These are the kinds of details that matter. You should have seen his face when I told him I was named after Randy Huntley. He was like, oh my goodness. And I know his wife too, and she's like, yeah, you're just reinforcing him to keep stuff that we don't need. The reality is, we're all given an opportunity, right, to make a really big difference. And we don't always get it right. That's why this isn't about perfection. You might have seen in the video package, I spent 23 years as an NCAA women's basketball referee. Yeah, you can give it up. You know, just remember that referees are people too. Have you ever made a decision? Have you ever said something, even if it's with a family member? Have you ever done something where as soon as you did it, you were just like, that sucked? Yeah, I did it. I did. I remember one time I was refereeing, I blew my whistle, and I put that up for the foul, and as soon as I did it, I knew this is a bad call. And I went walking over to report the call, and here comes the coach. Aaron, and I knew him pretty well. And Aaron's like, Randy, look up at that replay. And I said, I don't want to. We don't always get it right, but we keep going. We keep learning. We keep valuing one another. See, when you talk about care, if you're a type A personality, I've got an acronym for you. CARE. C-A-R-E. Create authentic relationships with everyone. It doesn't matter if you've known them for 30 seconds or 30 years. You know what it means to be authentic. You know what it means to create that type of a relationship. That is a pursuit that is worthy going on. That is how we set ourselves up for success. Silver platter service success. One of the things that I get to do, and I'm sure many of you did to get here, is travel on an airplane. It isn't what it used to be, is it? Yeah. Now, this is my little disclaimer. If you are a flight attendant, if you love a flight attendant, if you know flight attendants, I am not putting flight attendants down. I'm just going to share with you a real experience that I have had to show us all, to remind us what it is like to serve at that type of level. See, typically, when you're on a plane, they will come down the aisle and they will offer you a drink, a snack maybe, depending on what the airline is, what seat or row you're in. The other day I was on a plane. This truly did happen. Flight attendant walked down the aisle, asked the person what they wanted to drink. I don't know what the person said. I couldn't hear them, but I heard the flight attendant. And the flight attendant says, you didn't read the card because we don't have that. I'm just like, ouch. See, did she do her job? Yeah, but not with excellence, right? The task was accomplished, informed the person. See, we need to learn from my buddy Abraham. My buddy Abraham showed up so differently. My wife and I met Abraham on a flight from Chicago Midway to San Antonio, Texas. And there's Abraham. He's wearing his suit. He's got his vest on. He comes to the first row. And I hear him say, would you like something to drink? And then Abraham goes, whoa! That sounds so good. If the seat next to you was open, I'd sit down and have one too. I'm like, okay, here we go. He's got a different approach. He's serving and caring in a totally different way. Abraham, row by row by row, interacts with people in a different way. And he gets to me. He looks right at me and says, sir, I would be no gentleman if I didn't serve the beautiful woman sitting next to you first. Thank God it was my wife. It was an awesome moment, though. And I'm watching this transpire, and I was just kind of amazed by how he approached really mundane, routine, checking the box. Right? Yesterday, we flew here, and we learned how to buckle our seatbelt. Like, we don't know how to do this, right? But they have things they have to do. But he chose, see, this pursuit of excellence, this highest thought, highest word, highest action, it's an intentional decision that you make each and every day when you show up. So most flights that I'm on, when you're done with your drink and your snack, they go into the galley. This is an official Southwest Airlines trash bag. It looks like they got it at Costco, but anyway, they pull this out. And as soon as you see this, you know what to expect. You are going to put your trash or any kids that you don't want into this bag. And they are going to come down the aisle, and they're going to just walk down the middle. Trash, trash, trash. They literally look right at you and call you trash. And you gladly put your trash in the bag because it does the job. This is what we expect, right? This is what we anticipate, and we're willing to accept it. Except this isn't silver platter service. See, this is what Abraham teaches us to this day. He teaches us that we can do our job, or we can serve at the highest level possible. Abraham comes out of the galley with a silver platter. Not to serve the food. He brings a silver platter to collect the trash. And row by row by row, he is collecting the trash on a silver platter. He does the first row, empties the platter, second row, empties the platter. He finally gets to me and my wife, and I am just like this. He looks down, he says, "Are you done?" I said, "Yes, I am." He's like, "May I take that?" I said, "Yes, you may." And I hand him my trash on his silver platter, and then he says, "You're too kind." I was too kind to give him my trash on a silver platter. He doesn't need to do this. We don't expect this. We don't deserve this even. But he does it all the time because it touches people. It changes the experience. I don't know what your silver platter is. I can't give that to you. You have to decide what that is. What is the silver platter? What do you bring each and every day to work, to your family, to your friends, to your community? The world is waiting for this. They don't even know it, but you have it. And they're waiting for you to show up and give them a silver platter experience. We're sitting on this flight, and I said to my wife, I got to go talk to Abraham. She said, "Of course you do." I walked up to him. I'm like, "Sir, could I have a minute?" He's like, "Yeah, what's your name?" I said, "Randy." "What's your last name?" "Fox." "Mr. Fox, how can I help?" I mean, he just exuded. I said, "Abraham, you so seem to love your job." He said, "Nope." He really did. I'm like taken back by it. He goes, "Don't get me wrong. I enjoy my job." He goes, "I really enjoy putting a smile on people's faces and making a difference in their day, even if it's just small, for a moment." He goes, "I like my job." He's like, "But what it really is," he's like, "I love people." And that is the difference between doing a job and serving at the silver platter level. I hope you, my friends, I hope that you always love people even more than you love your job, because at the end of the day, that is really what it is all about, right? It is about us serving and showing up and throwing away that white trash bag moment and delivering silver platter service so that you can be the light on the darkest of days. That is why you are here. That is why you have the opportunity to change the world, because that's what the world is waiting for. Absolutely.